episode 333, Global from Asia, going in TikTok story and the Attention Factory and Matt Brennan's book and some amazing stuff. Let's go into it today.
Welcome to the Global from Asia podcast, where the daunting process of running an international business is broken down into straight up actionable advice. And now, your host, Michael Michelini.
Thank you, everybody, for choosing to listen to or download or however you consume this content, maybe even read. We do a full transcription as well of Global from Asia, episode 333. Here, 333. Easy one to remember, and it's a good one. Today we got Matt Brennan, co-founder of the China channel, also Chat Conference. Basically, he's one of the top experts, I'd say, about, let's say, WeChat or TikTok, which are both parent companies of Tencent and ByteDance. But most people know them as the products themselves, and also Douyin. And, especially it's the crazy news happening about the tables of turn of blocking Chinese internet in the West. But we don't talk about that too much. We just so happens, Matt's been working on this. He's been covering Douyin or these short videos for years, part of his research and what he does. And he put together a book. It's an amazing book. And we talk about the story of TikTok, what it takes, a little bit about the Chinese internet space, and really, look, I would say really amazing insights of how does, the future. I think we're going to be using more and more Chinese internet, whether we like it or not, around the world. I mean, there's a lot developing, and there's a lot of innovation happening, and it's China first in a lot of ways. And this is an example of how that's happening. So I'm really happy to bring on the show Matt Brennan. This is also recorded on live stream on our Facebook, and I think we're going to be putting on YouTube as well. You can check out events.globalfromasia.com for the upcoming streaming schedule, so you can catch it live. And if you're a GFA VIP, you can actually join in and network with Matt or other guests as they come on and me. So let's tune into the interview. Thank you to our GFA VIP.com members. We really appreciate you. It's been a lot more fun to do these shows. We bring them onto the stage or into the live audience. And that's how we're separating, and benefiting our paying and our supporting members. Of course, if you're not a member, we still want to give you this content and let you watch the streaming or watch these afterwards. So we're trying to balance free and paid. But if you do want to support what we're doing and also get some access to me and others in the community, we'd love to check out gfavip.com. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to our new or upgraded Global from Asia live and, of course, our traditional podcast. Today we have a great treat with us. Actually, Matt, I don't think you've been on. We've had you on other podcasts. We've done like China Business Cast. But I think this is the first time we've had you on the Global from Asia. I looked up and I was surprised. I think it is. But yeah, we've been friends and for many years, in this space of China internet, cross-border trade, cross-border business. It's been great to see you, and it's also a celebration of your book, Attention Factory. It's right here. So congrats on the book. I know how much work that is, and I'm excited to talk about that more today. We also have with us Carol in the community, Carol Zarita. She's in Singapore. She's also been to Matt's events. We've down in Shenzhen. Matt's spoken a lot about, originally it was always Tencent and WeChat, but now it's ByteDance and TikTok or Douyin, which is what we'll be talking about today. So thanks for helping out and joining us today, Carol.
Yeah, you're welcome. Very happy to be here. It's been a while, so really good to see friendly faces or friends' faces after a while. Yeah,
it's great. So Matt, you're the co-founder at China Channel. You've done amazing events for the community to help. I think you're one of the top experts in English language for the Chinese internet, and you've specialized in mobile internet tech and innovation. You've been in Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, Economist, BBC, Financial Times, and Forbes. And like I just mentioned, you have just put out your first book, I think, right? Called Attention Factory.
Yeah, it's the first book about what you just described, right?
Okay.
In a previous life, I was doing ed tech for an American school chain in China, and we actually had a whole ton of books under my name.
Really?
Related to any of this. So I've actually been for many, many years, but that's a different life. was like because I used to do ed tech back in the day in Chongqing, and we built software and we built books, everything, like it was like a 5-year project. But like I say, it was for education purposes, for kids language education.
Okay.
They put my name on it because I was managing the team.
Awesome. Okay. Okay. Well, that's really cool. So yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit about, for those that aren't familiar. You speak Chinese, read Chinese. You've when did you first get into the China? You've mentioned edtech, Chongqing.
Or into China's internet and technology.
I guess maybe a little bit about when did you get first in, the story of your entering China and how'd you get there?
Oh, that's long, right?
That could be a whole show, right? That could be like a whole book, but
yeah. Oh, there is definitely a book, not from me, but from some other people around that time. Yeah, I think it was crazy back then. So after coming out of uni, straight away I studied economics and then went to China for a year. I almost went to Poland, right? I went to China because I was with a friend and we worked out the purchasing power parity of what we earned there was really good. Being an economist, it was like, the wage seemed so small that we immediately were like, no, we'll just go Poland, it's much better. And then we said, oh no, but like that wage is small, but it buys so much in China. Everything was so cheap back then. And then from then I stayed to learn Chinese, and then I stayed to do entrepreneurship. And we franchised a school chain, and I went to Inner Mongolia for a couple of years, Sichuan province, and then later on I moved. That same company hired me to run go to their head office and do eventually research and development for all of their online for their online materials. And so this was like really, really early days for online stuff, education-wise in China. And we had to sort of sell these products to Chinese parents to say, hey, you've got some software now with your product. And back then, we were selling this into tier 2, tier 3 city China. Oh, it was so tough. Like those parents did not want it. Like they saw no value in software, no value in online at all. Very different from today. But anyway, that got me into online. And from there, I went into WeChat, and WeChat just blew up, and WeChat Pay went from 0 to 1 everywhere in China. And I saw that firsthand.
Yeah.
I thought, this is absolutely revolutionizing China. And so I quit and opened my own business and said, okay, we're going to go into WeChat marketing and so WeChat platform services. And that's how we did the conference where most people in China know us from. And we did some services around for brands as well. And I got into speaking and writing. We started blogging around WeChat, and that's where like putting out online content just started from. And now the book is moving into Douyin and Douyin and TikTok. It's kind of a natural progression because I started covering ByteDance as a competitor to Tencent was my first sort of in. And of course, I was on the ground when I saw the whole thing blow up in China again with like Douyin in 2018, and how all these foreigners became super famous on Douyin overnight. We covered that in our conference pretty early. And so that was pretty inspiring as well to see that go global, right? To really go global.
Yeah, for sure. We know some of those Douyin foreigners too.
Oh, mate, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, they're awesome.
Do you ever be tempted yourself to do something like that? Because there's so many people doing it in China, right?
Actually, my wife just helped me set up one yesterday. Actually, even for this show, book and everything inspired me. But each channel is so different. But yeah, we're going to try to put some of this content. We have all this content, but it's like a different style of content, which we'll talk about probably in our session today. But yeah, I mean, honestly, we finally opened an account. Yeah, Carol's on it too. Cool. But you actually got to decide Douyin or TikTok, because it's completely you got to choose.
I was about to mention that as well, and good that you brought the topic, because I've been in China. I downloaded the Douyin back then. I'm talking about like 2-3 years ago, and then I kept using it for a little while, and then when I'm not in China anymore, suddenly it didn't work anymore. So I had to remove it from my phone and then put it back. And then at last, like now not being in China, I don't have the choice on my Google app my Google Play to download Douyin. I have only the option to download TikTok. So actually, I don't have the Douyin again. I had it back then. So, I mean, I hope that we cannot just download it anymore.
The SIM card is the key. You've got to have a Chinese SIM card active. Yeah. If you've got that, you can still be outside China on an old account and still use it. Like most mainland Chinese can go outside China and still use Douyin.
Yeah, I figured that out as well. Yeah. Well, it's really good though. It's really good to hear about your whole story, and it's very inspiring because the people who've been in China, we know the whole process of when just WeChat came out, and then the whole progressive develop of WeChat and the functions and then WeChat Pay and so on and so on. And now we are like talking about Douyin. So it's really fascinating how fast and how smart the moves are, you know. And it's really good to be with you today, who are pretty much part of that thing. So tell us a little bit about the book. So is the book about that as well?
Yeah, so the book totally focuses on the history of the company behind TikTok, the company behind Douyin, and talks a lot about the early flagship product, Toutiao. And Toutiao is a household name in China. Everyone in China knows Toutiao. It's basically unknown outside China. But if you don't understand Toutiao, you won't understand why ByteDance is the company to build TikTok, right? So that's one of the big questions we answer in the book is like, why ByteDance? Why didn't Facebook build this? Why didn't Google build this? Why didn't Tencent build this? When you look into the history of the company and go back to Toutiao, it becomes obvious why ByteDance is the company to do this. And so we're just giving that backstory and that context. There's so much being written and spoken about TikTok this year. I mean, when I started this project 9 months ago, I knew that TikTok was great. I've been bullish on it since 2018. I know one of the product managers there really well, and we spoke a lot about it back in the day when nobody really knew it. It wasn't even in America, I think, at the time. But because we're on the ground and we knew Douyin, and I used Douyin a lot and knew how compelling it is. It's just an amazing user experience, so addictive that I was very confident that it could do well. And we, as I mentioned, we saw that actually Douyin was kind of the first Chinese social media where foreigners did really well on the platform. You know, you look back at WeChat, there wasn't many English language accounts on WeChat, and the same for Weibo and Bilibili or whatever. Like there were very, very few foreigners actually getting it and doing stuff, but Douyin was totally different. There was absolutely non-Chinese who loved it and had worked out how to make content. And so it was a special platform, quite clearly. But having said that, all of that, I never expected TikTok to be like where it is today, in terms of like Donald Trump talking about it, in terms of like getting none of this was expected when I started the book at all. And it's not why I wrote about, and I don't really cover that much in the book, to be honest. It's not the focus. It's not really what I'm trying to answer. But crazy, I was writing this and going like, oh my God, this is going in a very, very weird place right now. But I just kept going, kept writing about what I felt passionate about. And the reception so far has been really good, actually. Yeah.
So so the book it's like you said, it's very well researched. You there's like pages of quotes, of links, so you really did a lot of research for this. It wasn't just like your own personal experiences, which you do have anyway. But like I said, what I noticed is, like you said, Toutiao, for those that don't know Chinese, it means headlines. So it basically means, it was like a news app. And I really liked how you go through the story of the founder, and he, even before he started, I think it's 2012 this started, if I remember the year right, technically, but you could even say earlier he was working on making so many apps. It was almost like an app factory in a way, right? Like, well, you call it attention factory, but yeah, they were basically making so many apps, and it was working so hard to just build up.
You're exactly right. Like that
App
was
Factory,
what we
really.
App Factory was the original title, yeah, and then we changed it.
I didn't know that.
Last minute, actually, based on feedback from readers. I think it's actually a better title, but yeah, in China, most people know App Factory. It's a kind of common phrase, so we use that. I do like that as well. I think that's good.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, the book is. I wrote it with Rita Liao. She's she writes for TechCrunch, and she was editor and I was writer. So having Rita involved was really, really good. Rita's written extensively about ByteDance herself, and she's one of the rising stars of, I think, tech journalism in China. So I was really honored to work with her, and definitely she had a big impact on the book, without doubt. But yeah, there's so many sources in the back.
Yeah, Rita, I could see in her work there too.
Are you guys okay? Yeah. You're right. Like, there's a lot of sources in the back, and that's because I literally read everything about this company that's online, and we spoke to tons of people, and the sources for this book are just very extensive, and that's why it's got quite a good reception from ByteDance staff. The best reception so far has been from ByteDance employees.
I see.
Who actually really like it. They think it's actually very accurate. At least the ones who've reached out to us have said that.
Right. That's. Oh, we lost you, and now you're back, Mike. We lost you.
Yeah. I my heart just dropped, but I'm back.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next question, I can go ahead. Basically, would you say this is a normal track for Chinese tech that you've seen, like basically just grinding out, making lots and lots of products, lots of apps, or you've studied WeChat? I mean, is this the normal path, or is this a special path for?
It is quite normal that Chinese internet companies tend to do lots of different things, right? They love going into different areas and doing fintech and education, etc. Once they get to a size, they really go wide. That's quite normal. But actually, with the Toutiao model, with the ByteDance app factory model, it's kind of, in some respects, the opposite of the WeChat super app model, right? These are actually kind of opposite ways to do things. In the super app model, you pack all of your services into one app, and you just layer things on top of the already existing experience. ByteDance does that as well. If you go into Douyin in China, it's actually got quite a lot of features and functionality in there, but they also build out a range, a family of apps at the same time, and they're constantly experimenting and building out new features of new apps, basically. So they're kind of two different ways to do it, but at the end of the day, it's something that I think ByteDance is famous for, yeah, for sure. And we don't see it too much outside China yet, but I think we will eventually. They've actually hired so many people this year, and some of the listeners might know, I'm sure you know, like people in and around China, Westerners, everyone's been approached by ByteDance to get hired at some point. It's really, they've been hiring like crazy. they've really expanded their presence outside China now, and then once they've got that sort of workforce stable, and maybe TikTok will break out into a separate company, we don't know. At some point they're going to start, churning out apps in the same way they do like in China, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't want to get political, but I think Facebook's nervous, right? I don't know. I think they're scared. Even Tencent's scared. You mentioned that in the book. You kind of brought up Facebook too, but you're mostly talking about even the big guys in China are scared now of ByteDance or Douyin.
There's a lot of similarities between Tencent and Facebook. So we talk about them both. They're actually going through a similar process. Yeah, of like underestimating this and then suddenly realizing, oh my God, this is a threat. And then, but what's interesting is how they react so differently. In China, when Tencent suddenly woke up, like, oh my God, Douyin's a threat to us, they immediately like stopped ByteDance advertising anywhere on any of their platforms, like just completely. We won't take your money, like just. Absolutely, you can't take our users anymore. Whereas Facebook just, it's even today, TikTok's advertising on Facebook. So it says a lot about how these companies operate and the mindset of the higher management.
It's also, I feel like it's also a culture thing. Like in the West, there's, and I don't know if you maybe know, but I don't know of anybody blocking advertising, or maybe I don't know that, but it seems much more common in China for like Taobao links to not work on WeChat and, like things. But I think in the West, they let the links go, but they might not, like put them at the top of the feed, but they let you link to it, I think, right?
Yeah, it is a different culture around it. I mean, I don't think it's illegal for companies to say like, this other company is our rival and we won't allow them to advertise on our platform. I don't think that's, I think it's possible for them to do that. It's reasonable if they are a competitor, but they don't do it. Yeah. And it is a big difference in the mindset between, like in China, they have this zero-sum mindset around competition, where I think in Silicon Valley, it's a bit more sort of like we can grow the pie together with competitors type mindset.
Agreed. Okay, so let's go into I think the real, like even with the name Attention Factory or AI, machine learning, I think that's really the secret sauce, right? We even learned that with the Donald Trump talk, in the whole China versus Trump or US, which, I know it's not in the book, but the AI is the real secret sauce. And that's kind of what you said from all the experience with all the apps that they were building and the Toutiao, which is the headline news app. They use that to really make the app really sticky because it wasn't like it's not really about how many followers you have, right? It's not like if I follow somebody, I see their videos. It's really about what I'm watching, and it will show more content based on what I am consuming, right? That's kind of, I
mean, like a lot of people say what you just said, right? Like that it's totally algorithmic recommendation and you can have 0 followers and still go viral. Yeah, technically you can. That's correct. But, followers actually do matter as well. I mean, like it's there are influencers on the platform who regularly, their content gets high engagement. Even every video they do gets high engagement. And that's because they have a following, right? So it does actually, the dynamics around being an influencer on the platform are actually, more similar to other platforms than people have said, to be honest. You do need to build engagement over time. But individual pieces of content, I think the variation there can be much, much larger. So you do see a lot of accounts where they're meant to be influencers because they've had like 2 or 3 very viral videos, but then the rest of their content has very low engagement. That's not uncommon. Yeah. Especially back in the day when people didn't understand it, there were people saying, I'm an influencer, just to sort of get brands to come in and pay them. But what they'd done is like they copied like 3 different viral videos and managed to latch onto some trends to build some numbers. And then they bought a lot of bot followers and the whole thing was basically a fraud. That was actually quite common in 2018 when brands didn't understand it.
Got it.
Yeah. That is also on the other side, that the whole world get to understand the influencers or the KOLs back then in China, because just for the sake of the term KOL, it started in China and the rest of the world. I remember myself with a couple of clients trying to talk about the KOLs, and everybody's like, "What is the KOL?" So
Right.
It's when the whole terminology started in China as well. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, I tried to use the word influencer throughout the book and avoid KOL, because KOL really is a China-specific term, I feel.
Right.
And for most intents and purposes, you can exchange influencer and KOL. They're close enough. Yeah, there is a difference, but not much.
That's right. Now, in terms of the growth hacking, so the whole app pre-install, it was really fascinating to learn about Douyin. Was a top buyer to the pre-app download on mobile phones back in 2013. So you explain a little bit more in terms of like the whole pre-install back then in Shenzhen, the time back in Shenzhen when everything was popping into that or directing into that. You mentioned that in the book. So you want to develop a little bit more of the app pre-install that happened.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's one section of the book that's an exclusive. It's super interesting because it really speaks to how Chinese companies growth hack and what does growth hacking mean in China. It's a really excellent case study of that, and it's a part of the history of the company that the company doesn't like to talk about, but it's real. It's very real. So how we got onto it was, early on during doing research for the book, I was asking, VCs and people who I really trusted, who were very connected in the industry and should know what they're talking about, and I respected their opinion, and said, like, what's the secret sauce for ByteDance? What are they good? What's really driving this company? And you're expecting them to say AI and recommendation and algorithms, and they were like, yeah, they're good at that stuff. Don't get us wrong. That's actually, that's true. But they're also, the growth team is really, really, really important, and I would say just as important as the recommendation. So I was looking into it. I was like, what do they mean, this growth team? And like, you can't find anything online about this. There's no information saying like what they did. I had to dig it all out, and speaking to people and doing my own research, and then I discovered that they fast-tracked the whole company with this app pre-install campaign. And it's fair to say that without that, I don't think we'd see TikTok today with that. Wow. Like they actually grew their company very significantly through pre-installing the apps onto Android phones from 2013 to 2016. Today you can't do this, right? Today it's already closed. These kind of like hacks, they don't last very long, right? You can't. If it's good, people start using it and people start abusing it. And then suddenly, it gets overused and it's not a secret anymore in the industry, etc. So all of these dynamics quickly play out. But there was about a 2-year window where ByteDance basically paid more than anybody else in the whole of China to have their app pre-installed on pretty much every device that they could, pay a reasonable price for. These are all Android devices. It's not iOS, right? It's not iPhone. But like in China, most back in the day, you could actually pay for a distributor. So after a phone's left the factory, so it's left the Huawei factory or the Xiaomi factory, and it's on its way. It hasn't been sold to a consumer yet. And somewhere along the distribution train, you can pay people to actually put your app on the phone. And people don't care what apps are on their phone, at least in China. None of the consumers really knew or cared about this enough for it to be an issue. They just looked at the hardware, right? They were like, okay, I just want this Xiaomi phone. and it's got the battery life, and it's got the screen size, and this is, and the price, obviously. That's what people are looking at. They don't care if it's like 12 apps or if there's 20 apps on the phone. It doesn't really matter. So they took advantage of that and then put their app on pay to get the gray market, right? It's not illegal, but it's kind of a gray area. Like, it should probably be illegal, but they've broken any laws doing it, to my knowledge, right? I'm not saying this company did anything illegal. In fact, from what I can tell, it was quite common.
Yeah, it was totally normal.
People doing it. But they just did it by far the most, and they drove the prices up in the industry. And everyone complained about, like, ByteDance is spending too much on this, like they're driving the prices up.
Wow.
So yeah, their company grew from like tens of millions through to like multiple hundreds of millions of users through this one trick.
Right. That's actually I have to say that I take it very inspiring in terms of like my years in China. It's pretty educational in terms of like Chinese, like what you just say is like you do what it takes to be whatever you want to do. And that's something that I keep it to myself as individual. Like, that was a really good lesson that I got to see from China, because companies like what you just say, ByteDance doing that, and always, back then, the DD competing with Uber and stuff, and the way that they beat them. So it's just interesting that how China companies are always growing. That's why they go super fast. So, and again, talking about moving fast, TikTok is also a really good media and window for the e-commerce sellers. So suddenly we see tons of sellers making tons of money, and it's just amazing when you get to see, like you say, it's very addictive to scroll down the TikTok, because you get to see tons of sellers and how the traditional, even those outside of the main cities, they are using it to sell whatever, eggs, meat, whatever it is. So tell us a little bit about that matching with the e-commerce.
Yeah, there's a lot of people interested in that, and rightly so, because one of the great things around this for Douyin is it's quite different from everything else we look at with China innovation around mobile, because so often with stuff that happens in China, it stays in China, right? So like all of these cool things happen on WeChat. You got Meituan, you got Alipay, you got all these like amazing consumer services, Pinduoduo, whatever, super cheap thing, but it doesn't really translate outside China. And so you end up as, in my position where I'm explaining what's happening in China to people all the time, I'm constantly struggling to make it relevant to their world, because the online infrastructure in the West, let's say, and in China is just very, very different. And so this is one of the very first times where China really very, very clearly is a window into the future. So if you know what happens on Douyin now, today, that is what will happen on TikTok in like 18 months. For sure. I know this from speaking to the teams. Like the product roadmap for TikTok is very similar to what Douyin is already today. So if you know the trends on Douyin today, you actually can be very confident that this is going to happen on TikTok, and we're already seeing that.
Yep.
So as marketers, digital marketers, like you can actually get ready for this wave, knowing e-commerce is coming, right? If you want to build an account today on TikTok, you can be pretty confident that you'll be able to do some form of e-commerce similar to Douyin in 6 months. That's absolutely coming. So it's quite rare that you get this like very clear window. It's very simple. It's like, if you want to see what TikTok's like, look at Douyin, right? What it's going to be like. And that's, Douyin today has got tons of e-commerce happening. And so that's why you're seeing TikTok announce deals with Shopify. There's clear, or Walmart, right? Walmart's got involved with the Oracle deal, or was trying to. And so why are these e-commerce enablers getting involved with a social media platform? It doesn't make any sense to most people, but if you know Douyin, it makes total sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we're seeing in our communities a lot of Amazon sellers, e-commerce sellers studying this closely and investing a lot into this. And I would agree. I think anybody doing e-commerce right now should be at least studying this, if not like investing in this, whether building up their own channel or influencer networking. It's definitely the future. This has been fascinating. I mean, of course, there's way much more. The book is very, very comprehensive. So I've read it. I've given a review. I recommend others to also check out the book. Is there audio version, or it's Kindle? There's paperback.
On that. I'll be recording that hopefully this month. Hopefully.
Wow, cool. I haven't done audio myself, but
a couple of days to record that.
Yeah.
Read a book out loud perfectly. Maybe occasionally doing some character voices when you're speaking as other people. It's actually a lot more work than I thought. And you got to get a studio and do it properly. Otherwise, it sounds, it won't sound professional.
Looking forward because I am an audio fan.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask for audio. Yeah, I mean, clearly the target audience that I'm going for does listen to a lot of podcasts, and they love audio content. So some people, they only listen to audio books, right? So, yeah.
Okay, great. I'm bringing up Zach Franklin. I don't know if he's got video working, but we're kind of wrapping up. Zach. Yeah, Zach's really, Zach. Yeah, everybody knows Zach.
Yeah, long time no see, guys.
Yeah, I just thought we'd bring in for the last couple questions at the end. Appreciate you tuning in. You're obviously very active in the Amazon space and working, and you're in China too. So you see this TikTok and e-commerce. What are your thoughts, or do you have anything else you'd like to add?
I mean, TikTok, I'm addicted to it myself. It's super, super good at figuring this stuff out. And, it's easy because it's just super short form video and you get hooked on it. The challenge for brands, of course, is it's really hard to make a 6-second video that's super engaging, and the angle for marketing your product, you can't really sell like a really boring product for anything that's very short and intense and exciting like TikTok is. You need to have some kind of visually interesting product or find some really unique angle on it for it to make a good video. And I think that is really the challenge. It can't be like something as easy as a Google shopping ad where you just pop something up, and if people are searching like water bottle, they find it, and you don't have a lot of creative work. So sellers that have a very strong creative team or a strong product for this can do really, really well. But if you're not one of those things, TikTok is clearly not going to be your channel.
Got it.
So it comes into really knowing yourself, knowing your market, and knowing what can you do. Because it's not easy to make a 6-second video.
Okay.
It's harder than making a 5-minute video.
So Zach's a founder at. You have a few projects, Seller.deals, which is a new one you're doing for sellers to get deals.
Yeah, Seller Deals is doing great.
Awesome.
So that's the one I'm going to keep pushing right now. Pandaleap, I have enough customers. I don't need any more. Don't join Pandaleap unless you want a lot of Amazon reviews.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we're maxed out.
All right, so I think we're going to go to networking mode. This is going to wrap up the last Q&A, but definitely everybody, the beauty about Kindle is I got to download this as soon as it came out, the Attention Factory. So it's on Amazon. I think there's paperback too. I think it's definitely Kindle, paperback, and audio is coming. So thanks so much, Matt, for coming on and sharing with us today. We'll have a little bit of time. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say, most people got paperback, actually. I didn't expect that. I expected Kindle to do better. But paperback is doing better, yeah. So it's pretty good.
Interesting. Well, for me in China, it's easier to get the digital faster.
Sure. Everyone in China.
But for anybody, Yeah, we have no choice. But thanks again, Matt. And everybody, please support him. It's like it's really obviously so affordable. It's like a very affordable price. So and then Amazon sellers know reviews help. I left him a review, but it deserves it. It's a good book, and
Yeah.
really appreciate you, Matt, for sharing on the show and your previous help with speaking at our events, and also I support your events and everything. So, well, for those in the members room, we're going to go to networking. So it's going to be some tables. If you're on Facebook or our podcast, it'll be out wrapping up now. So thank you, everybody. Just hang out if you're on our on the actual live session. We have a newsletter every Thursday night. We call it GFA Pulse, and what we try to do is talk about what's happening in our community, a little bit more about what content we're making, special offers, freebies, giveaways, special webinars. If you do want to get into this information, actually, some people have unsubscribed by mistake, or we did switch lists lately, so maybe if you did stop getting them for some reason, we did do a huge upgrade of our email system, so you might have to resubscribe. I'm embarrassed to say that, but globalfromasia.com/subscribe, and people seem to like it, so hope you do too. All right, thank you everybody for going all the way through Matt's interview. I hope you enjoyed it. We also had some people in the community engaging on the show, asking some questions, so that's really fun. I'm actually enjoying trying to share the stage, bring more people on board. So I'd love to know more what you are working on as well, and I've gotten some good feedback from the new format of the show. I know we've been 7 years at Global from Asia, 2013, and we're trying different ways. We're all locked down in COVID, or we're doing more online. I'm trying to be more interactive, trying to also give more benefits to our GFAVIP.com members, so they get to access to guests and me when we record it. And it's actually a lot more fun, although it's a lot more stress, because I just feel like, video used to just be me behind a microphone, audio only, like Skype back in the day. But now we're doing video and audio and live streaming, and Facebook.com/Global from Asia or globalfromasia.com/YouTube for those two channels. We also get this Wendy, my amazing wife's getting us set up on Douyin itself, finally. We have some short videos there, and we're trying to be as many places as possible. We are a content machine, as I think Matt even said on the show, or to me privately. So I do hope everybody's enjoying. I am going to actually do another session. We're doing these so many. We had an amazing 11/11 here at Global from Asia with 2 back-to-back shows, and we're doing webinars and a lot happening. If you're not on our email list, definitely take advantage of that. globalfromasia.com/subscribe. You can choose to also get our onboarding email course, little mini course, or just get into newsletters. We do spend a lot of time making those as well. So thanks again for tuning in. And I don't know, do you like video or audio? Let us know. Send us an email, blog@globalfromasia.com or mike@globalfromasia.com. My team and I will be checking those. Thank you.
To get more info about running an international business, please visit our website at www.globalfromasia.com. That's www.globalfromasia.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our iTunes feed. Thanks for tuning in.